Most of us need to make money to live, but it's difficult to be chasing money and not get exhausted in the process. Derrick Kinney will talk about his book, Good Money Revolution. It integrates 3 good money levers, the right attitude about money, and what is a way to distinguish yourself with a generosity purpose. So let's listen to Derrick. Welcome to the Excellent Executive Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Katrina Burrus, and today we have Derrick Kinney. Derrick is the author of Good Money Revolution. So, Derrick, you are most welcome.
Katrina, thank you for having me today. I'm real excited about this conversation together.
Great, so am I. And you also were a very successful financial planner and had a business, and you sold it in 2020. Why?
It was a big decision. Some would say a courageous decision, but let me take you back 25 years ago when I first became a financial advisor. I had a passion for helping people achieve their financial goals, and I would help them achieve the goals most important to them. And 25 years later, I was then faced with that same decision. I had to look myself in the mirror and ask myself, is being a financial advisor what I want to do for this next chapter of my life? So every year I go away on a sabbatical, which is basically 5 days completely by myself, where I ask myself 3 questions. How can I be a better husband? How can I be a better father? And how can I be a better business owner? And those questions guide my time. And my thinking is, it makes sense to take essentially 1 week out of the year to make sure I can run really fast the other 51 weeks out of the year, and I'm running toward what I really want. And I began to make a list of all the things I would enjoy doing with the next part of my life. And I wrote down, launch a podcast, write a book, speak, consult, coach. And surprisingly, Katrina, what wasn't on that list was being a financial advisor. Didn't mean I didn't love doing it and didn't love my clients, but I just realized in my heart to do what I really wanted to do, to take this good money message to the world, would require me to sell the practice, to give me the time to really develop this idea and help change more people's lives.
So, how did you differentiate yourself in the financial arena?
Yeah, so funny story. So picture this. I'm a 25-year-old kid, not a gray hair on my head, and I'm asking myself, who would trust me with their hard-earned money? And what I began to realize was when people have a cause they care about and you have the same cause, there's a relationship that can form from a business standpoint. And let me tell you a quick story. So my alma mater, Sam Houston High School here in Arlington, Texas, I thought back when I was a student how nice it would have been to have had business leaders come back and recognize students like myself or give us a word of encouragement and hope about what the future could look like. And I said, you know what? I want to do that for the students who are there now. So I went back to my alma mater and I launched a Student of the Month and a Teacher of the Month program. Now, get this. I gave a $25 gift card to the Student of the Month, a $50 gift card to the Teacher of the Month. That really wasn't a whole lot of money for me, but for them, it was like winning the lottery. Having someone go back and breathe belief and appreciation into them spoke volumes. Well, what began to happen was I would take those pictures with myself and the student and the principal, or myself and the student, rather the teacher and the principal, send those to the newspaper back in the day. And I began to get phone calls, and people would call saying, hey, Derrick, we saw you doing this education contributions. We'd like to work with you. And I was stunned because I thought of all the advisors in town, why would someone work with me? And what I realized was people would call and say, Derrick, we know you're good with money, but we really like that you care about what we care about. And that was the impetus to my business growth. I now call it my generosity purpose. I loved supporting education, and I found that people with money often felt strongly about improving the quality of education as well. So it just aligned that we would work together.
And give us the story you mentioned about before we recorded, that somebody that was a client of yours that was demotivated.
Yeah, so let me tell you about Dave. So Dave was a longtime client, and he came in the office for one of his regularly scheduled visits, but I could tell something was different about him. He just seemed really down and out. And after some small talk and exchanging pleasantries, I said, Dave, let me shoot straight with you. What's wrong? I can tell there's something bothering you. So he began to just open up and share with me that he no longer felt motivated going to his business anymore. He no longer was excited to wake up every morning and work with his customers, even with his family members who worked at the business. And out of my mouth came the words, which I still don't know where they came from, but they just shot out. And I said, Dave, is there a cause that you care deeply about? Well, the question caught him by surprise, but he began to tell me a story. He said, Derrick, several years ago, my wife and I and my family went overseas to a village to look at some things. And the tour guide mentioned they really needed a schoolhouse there because the lack of it was holding back this entire group of kids in terms of their educational growth. And he thought, wouldn't that be cool to build a school? So he comes back, he forgets all about it because things get busy. And I asked him, I said, what if you did this? What if you set a sales goal for yourself and you took a percentage of that and you used that to fund the school? Well, he was intrigued by the idea. So we had some more small talk, reviewed his accounts. He comes back in 3 months later. He looks younger. He looks invigorated. He looks like a completely different guy. And I said, Dave, the way you look is completely different. What's up? He says, well, I did what you said to do. I was skeptical at first, but I called my clients and customers, let them know going forward, our generosity purpose is that a portion of all of our proceeds will go to help fund this school. Well, his customers got excited about it. They began to refer other people to him. He was able to fund half of that school in about 3 months. And so what that shows is when a business owner or someone who is wanting to make money can assign meaning to their money, can pair up profits with purpose and assign cash to a cause, all of those can be a refreshingly new way to motivate yourself to go make a lot of money by adding value to people, and you're helping make a difference in the cause that you care deeply about.
I love that story. So tell us, you also say wealthy people aren't the enemy. Can you comment on that?
Oh, of course. You know, it's interesting because when you think about the pandemic, think about people like Jeff Bezos, for example. We'll use him. When I started my business in 2020, I was so thankful that I could order something and within hours, it would arrive at my doorstep. And this whole pandemic economy really launched companies like Amazon, or here in the States, Chipotle, big food delivery, Peloton bikes, Zoom that we're doing right now. All of those stay-at-home stocks did well. And I bought those stocks because the trend was clear. These stocks are going to do well over the next year and a half. What began to happen, though, was people began to criticize Jeff Bezos. Now, is he a good guy, a bad guy? I don't know. But from just a purely business standpoint, he and his company were uniquely positioned to meet the demands of people working from home, and the stock price soared. So am I going to say Jeff Bezos is bad because he provided a company that helped millions and millions of people? Absolutely not. And so what I would say to people listening right now is, what could you learn from someone like Jeff Bezos in terms of how he runs his business, how he adds value to people, and how could you apply that to your business? Because listen, I can sit here with you right now, Katrina, and I can complain about the wealthy and it's not fair and they deserve to share with all of us. Or I can say, I'm going to choose to make myself a better business owner, a better business coach, add more value to people so I can make more money and I can be wealthy as well. And I can then make a difference in the causes I believe in. That's where I choose to spend my emotional energy.
Excellent advice. You also written a book called The Good Money Revolution, and you mention good money levers, 3 of them. Can you walk us through those 3 levers?
Yeah. So this was a couple years ago. I like to update my net worth. I call that the report card for adults. It tells you what you own minus what you owe, and here's how much financially you are valued right now. And as I looked at my net worth this particular year, it skyrocketed over the year before, so much so I had to double and triple check it. And as I dug into it, I realized there were three levers that caused my net worth to grow so much. And the first one was save more. So, and I'll just tell you the three levers. First of all, save more, crush your debt, and earn more. So much like I love to ride roller coasters, for example, and one of my favorite in town is called the Titan. And what I found is that people who operate the roller coasters, it's a series of levers that cause the car to go and stop and so forth. And so I wanted to make this very simple. So when I talk about saving more, so many people think about when it comes to saving, they park the money in their checking account or their savings account. That may pay 0.1%. It definitely is not the get rich quick account by any means. What I began to do was instead of putting my money in the checking or savings account, as the stock market was so volatile, I would buy stocks that I felt like had a good chance to bounce back, but I would buy them as they were dropping in value. And I called that planting seeds in the ground. And what happened was, this was 2017, 2018. So 2019, as the market bounces back up again, the sun came out and those stocks did really, really well. So that lever of my net worth really did well. The next part was crushing my debt. One of the things that I would encourage everyone to think about are, what are your commoditized expenses? And what I mean by that is, what are the expenses that you pay for that are very similar from company to company? So for example, your automobile insurance, homeowners insurance, renters insurance. Here in Texas where I live, we can choose our electricity provider. All of those services are pretty much the same. So calling them up and saying, look, I'm considering changing providers. Is there a new customer special or a deal you can give me to help save me money to keep me as a customer? And you want to do what I call capture and keep. So you're capturing the savings, but the problem is, here's what most people do, is they take what they've saved and they buy the new phone, buy the new computer, buy the new car. Instead, you want to capture that money and direct it automatically to the number one financial debt that you've got. It could be your house, a credit card, a student loan, etc. And you set it and forget it. That way the money automatically goes to that debt without you thinking about it. That helped shave off about 7 years off of my home note by doing that. So that's something everybody can do.
So just to go through this again, so anything that you earn, you systematically take a percentage of it to reduce your debt. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's part of it. What I'm talking about is current payments that you have right now. So for example, if I'm paying $150 a month for my automobile and homeowners insurance, calling the automobile and homeowners insurance company and saying, look, I'm considering changing. Yes. As I evaluate all my costs, is there a way to save money? And let's say they come back and say, you know what, we found a way to save you $50 a month. Then you want to take that savings and automatically redirect it to a debt that you've got, so it's paying it off at a quicker rate.
I see. Very, very well said. Okay.
And then the third lever is, how can you earn more money? And so this is going to be different for everyone listening. For example, as a business owner myself, what I began to do was find ways to add more value to clients. And I actually raised my fees a bit because I was providing more expertise to them. For example, someone who might be a teacher listening, or even let's say a business coach that wants to increase their revenue, what can they look at to say, here is a body of knowledge I've got, or here's a product or service that I could sell. How can I position this to add value to people's lives, charge them additionally for it, and drive up my revenue? I'm a big believer, Katrina, in not just charging people higher fees. A specialist is someone over a generalist who people want to work with. For example, if I were going to have a shoulder surgery, I could go to my family practitioner doctor that knows a little bit about a lot of things, or I could go to a shoulder specialist who all they do is work on shoulders every single day. And I'd be willing to pay more for the specialist because I know I'm going to get more advanced knowledge. And so by positioning yourself as the specialist, those are ways that you can increase your revenue and therefore earn more money.
I see. So it's you niche. So you become an expert and you're the go-to person for that expertise.
Yeah. And I'll give you another example. One of the things when I talk to people, one of the biggest concerns that business owners share with me is, Derrick, how do I stand out from all the other insert name of their occupation in my area? For example, if they're in sales or they're a coach or they're a financial advisor, an attorney, a CPA, a realtor, whatever it may be, they feel like customers don't know how to select them because they look like everyone else. And what I will tell them is it's important to provide great service and be the expert in your field, but by becoming known as the giving professional, as the person who gives back in your local community, someone who cares about the causes that your potential clients care about, that helps you stand out among all the other advisors or all the other professionals in your local area. Now, I'll give you another example. One of the realtors that I work with talked about how she will let people know that, hey, a portion of any transaction that we do goes to a fund to help low-income people afford quality housing. Well, that was something that most people liked and supported. And so they knew that, hey, I'm going to work with this person who's a great realtor, but also I'm helping make the world better for other people when I work with her. It helped her stand out. She made more money, but she added more value to people's lives.
Yes, I see. So it gives the meaning even to the person that's purchasing the service.
That's exactly right.
Wonderful. So we're coming to the end of our podcast. Where can people get a hold of you?
So one of the best ways is on Instagram at Derrick, Derrick, T as in Tom, Kinney, Kinney. We post fresh content every day. And I meet so many people who feel like they deserve to make more money, but they don't know how. And we want to help empower people to do that and live the life they've always wanted. Also, the new book, Good Money Revolution, is available on Amazon or wherever you buy your favorite books.
Wonderful. Now, this will be on the show notes. Thank you very much for this interesting and different way of making money and giving back.
My pleasure. Katrina, thank you for having me. I can see why your listeners love your show. You ask such great questions. It was a real fun to be with you today.
Thank you, Derrick. We would love to know what you thought of this podcast. Write us an email at drkatrina with a K at excellentexecutivecoaching.com. We would love to hear what you liked and what we could improve. This podcast has been sponsored by excellentexecutivecoaching.com.
Thank you for listening to the Excellent Executive Coaching Podcast. You can subscribe to all future podcasts at excellentexecutivecoaching.com. Join us each Wednesday to learn more about the latest trends in leadership techniques and bring your coaching to the next level. To learn more about Dr. Burrus' CEO Mastermind, use the contact form at excellentexecutivecoaching.com.